What is up, guys, and welcome back to another hot takes video. Without further ado, let's get right into the first hot take, which comes from Enrique, and he says that the Bloodline is stale and boring, and I just gotta disagree with you, Enrique. I'm sorry, but I think the Bloodline is the most fascinating and interesting thing going on right now in all of professional wrestling. I think that adding Sami Zayn to the mix and now the new Kevin Owens storyline is just making it that much better. You have the Jey Uso and Sami Zayn storyline going on. I think it's not boring at all. There was a small period of time where it was getting a little stale, but right now it is not stale whatsoever. I'm excited more than ever before for WrestleMania with Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline. The next hot take comes from a Vermont wrestling fan, and he says that Bray Wyatt's current run has been unimpressive. And honestly, he's kind of right. I feel like the Bray Wyatt return at Extreme Rules was done perfectly, but right now they are kind of extending the storyline and not really progressing it too much, to the point where a lot of people kind of lost some hype. Like, the man returned all the way back in September and it's December and we haven't even seen him have a match. But aside from that, the storyline has just been super slow. It's definitely a slow burn, and I think things will pick up because Triple H sees that a lot of people are complaining about the progression of the storyline. So I hope that things do turn around because it does feel a little unimpressive right now. Matthew says that his hot prediction is that under the right guidance and booking, Dominic Mysterio will be more famous than Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. You know what? That is definitely one of the hottest takes I think I've ever seen in this series. Like, goddamn, you really can't mean that, because if you do, like, that's a wild take. I don't think it's going to happen whatsoever. I think that Dominic Mysterio really lacks a lot of charisma that came to Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero very easily. But aside from that, I just don't think wrestling is as popular as it once was, to the point where he can become more famous. Like, people are always going to remember Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, even if they become new fans, because those guys have classic matches, classic feuds, and also classic promos. Like, Dom just is not on their level whatsoever. So sorry, Matthew, I gotta disagree, but you know what? You might be right. So down the line in 5-10 years, I will come back to this hot take and tell you were right if you are. All Dad Jelly Fam says that Triple H has kind of overdone it with returns too much too soon, and I've got to agree. Look, at one point I was really excited for all these returns, but it's getting a little too much. You know, you got a lot of people at this point who are coming back who were never even seen by the WWE universe. Like, yes, I understand they were in the NXT universe, but a lot of people on the main roster don't watch NXT, and as you can tell from Bronson Reed's debut, or return should I say, a lot of people didn't care. It was very quiet, very awkward, you know? So Triple H, just slow down. You got a lot of people on the roster. You're not even doing too much with a lot of them, so just wait, chill out for a little bit, and use them. That's my advice. Steve says that all these years later, and Brock ending the streak was still a terrible idea. And I'm sorry, Steve, but I disagree. I think that Brock Lesnar was a fantastic choice. Was he the perfect choice? Probably not. Like, there were other people that could have ended it, but he wasn't a terrible idea or choice at all. I think Brock Lesnar was an exceptional choice, and because of that victory, we saw the dominance of Brock Lesnar really take over for a whole decade. So without that win, you don't get that Brock Lesnar, and I like that Brock Lesnar, so I say it was a great idea. Jay says, I prefer the 5v5 elimination matches over War Games for Survivor Series. And yeah, your boy's going to have to agree. I think I like the 5-on-5 eliminations. That is just such a tradition for me. Like, every single year, I look forward to a traditional elimination match. So I kind of want that to return. I would like War Games to stay. I think it should be maybe on a different pay-per-view throughout the year, because why not? Or just bring it out for a certain feud. Like, for instance, the Bloodline versus X, Y, and Z. You know, that is when I would bring in War Games. But I don't think it should be a Survivor Series thing. I want to keep Survivor Series the way it was. I'm not saying that War Games was bad in any way this year. I'm just saying, you know. The man with 3 H's says that Gargano and Hit Road on the main roster right now is not working, and you kind of hit the nail on the coffin with that one. I feel like Hit Road, definitely the main roster just does not care about at all. And as for Johnny Gargano, Triple H hasn't been booking him too well, but aside from his booking, I also think the fans just don't care because he doesn't have too much charisma either. A lot of his stuff is in the ring, and these fans don't care about in-ring product or quality. They care about promos, storylines, making you feel something, and Johnny Gargano does not strive in that. We'll see what happens when Tommaso comes back, because as a tag team, I think the two could do really well. Spencer says that Chris Jericho deserves a spot on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. Doesn't matter the company, the character, or the feud he's in. He goes above and beyond to make it the best he can be. Look, Chris Jericho is definitely a top tier WWE superstar, or professional wrestler for that matter, because he's been all around the world, but I don't think he's a top 4 wrestler of all time. I just don't. You have John Cena, you have The Undertaker, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, even Triple H to a degree. I think those guys did a lot more. The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan. Like, I just see so many more other names that Chris Jericho, like I said, is still a top tier wrestler, probably in the top 20 wrestlers of all time, but just not in the top 4, unfortunately. Champ says that Roman winning the Royal Rumble would not be the worst idea, and I don't know if this is rumored or something, but I haven't seen a single thing about it, but I don't want to see Roman winning the Rumble. Like, that is a pretty bad idea in my opinion. We got to see either The Rock, if he comes back, he needs to win the Rumble. If not him, it has to be Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes winning that Royal Rumble match would be a perfect moment. Like I said, if The Rock doesn't show up, to get him in that Roman Reigns and Bloodline feud, and to give him that big victory at WrestleMania, you got to start it off at the Royal Rumble. Addison says, from a match quality standpoint, Roman Reigns is the weakest member of the Shield still. Look, Seth Rollins, I think we can all agree, is the best wrestler in the ring between all the members of the Shield. Let's put him on the top, but Jon Moxley is not that great of a wrestler. I just gotta say it. I don't enjoy his matches. I don't like his style. I think he's gotten kind of lazy in AEW. I think the strikes that he has just don't hit that well. I'm gonna say that Roman Reigns is a much better performer and wrestler than Jon Moxley. It's just a fact. At least to me it is. Ninja says that Roman should have lost to Drew at Clash at the Castle. The crowd was so electric. You are right in the sense that the crowd was electric, but Roman Reigns is walking into WrestleMania with those titles. He should not be taking a loss until then. So I understand the booking decision, and I think it was the right call. Carnage says that Jay needs to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. And look, I love that idea. I think the idea of Jey Uso finally getting that victory and becoming the top guy would end that storyline that's been going on since 2020 at Clash of the Champions, or whenever that pay-per-view was. Like, the storyline makes sense, but I just don't see it happening, just because Jey Uso will probably never be a main event guy ever again. Like, there was a point in time where I could see him as a main event guy, but at this point, he's just a tag team. He's a tag team guy, you know? So as much as I would love it, I think the story is there. I think a lot of cool things would happen. I just don't see it happening, so I don't think he should be the one. Mustafa says that The Rock versus Roman should happen at Mania, and then Cody versus Roman should happen at SummerSlam. Having both WrestleMania matches takes away from the magnitude of each feud, and that is literally the best way to explain it. I completely agree. We should not have 2 Roman Reigns matches at WrestleMania. It is not a good idea. It will get too convoluted, too messy, and I don't want to see that happen. You got to focus on The Rock and Roman, and then down the line, focus on Cody and Roman. I agree with this hot take, Mustafa. Shun says that LA Knight is better than The Miz on the mic, and I agree. I really think that LA Knight is a great performer, especially on the mic. In the ring, he's good too, but on the mic, he really shines, and it's great to see LA Knight be LA Knight. King says that The Miz is better on the mic than MJF. This is another Miz comparison on the mic, but no, I don't agree. Look, I think The Miz is a great talker, but MJF is just on a different planet. The guy is so goddamn good. With that being said, Balor Club for Life says that The Miz should be in the Hall of Fame when he retires, and he absolutely will. This is not a hot take. This is just an undisputed fact. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.